Hello everyone, my name is Dallas May, and we're going to talk about Dead Island 2. Apparently it got delayed to, I believe, April. Well, I'm hoping that when it is finally released, that it lives up to a lot of people's expectations, including my own. I hope that Techland and whoever else is working on it, Ubisoft, Techland, whoever's working on it right now, I really hope that they do not fuck it up. I hope we don't get something like The Last of Us 2 or Vanguard or Battlefield 2042, because right now, those three games are fuck ups. The Last of Us 2 story was fucked up. The Vanguard multiplayer was wonky as hell. And Battlefield 2042 just sucked. So whoever's working on Dead Island 2 right now, I really hope that they don't fuck it up. I mean, they better make this the most awesome, badass, ass-kicking zombie story of all time. And I really hope it shows some insight and explains some shit. Like how the virus got to California. I already put my theory out there on how it got to California. We don't know how it got there, but there's also the returning character Sam B. We don't know how he got to California or if this Dead Island 2 story is set like completely different from the original franchise or what, but apparently this is taking place months after the outbreak on Banoi. So if it is the same guy, I hope that they give us some insight on how he got to California and how he survived. Because a lot of people think at the end of Dead Island Riptide that the 5 immune characters died. Well, in Escape Dead Island and Dead Island 2, it reveals 2 of the immune characters are alive. It reveals Sam B and Shin Mei. They both are immune characters out of the 5. Now the question is, where do the other 3 immune characters go? That is something else I'm hoping that they cover in Dead Island 2. Because there's some potential story there. They could tell us, they could give us some insight, they could even create a whole new DLC for those characters. And I really hope that they don't mess up the multiplayer. Because everyone, a lot of people, a fuck lot of people, have high expectations for Dead Island 2, and I'm one of them. I just don't want to see them fuck it up somehow. Because it would be pretty awesome to be able to do everything that they are describing in Dead Island 2 right now. It's just a matter of concept on how the story goes and how the story ends. Now, question is there going to be like a free roam thing like at the end of Dying Light? We can just go around the city, kick a bunch of zombie ass, and level your character up? Or is there going to be a concept where you just gotta keep replaying the story until your character's fully leveled up? I don't know. I do know that if I was to make Dead Island 2 myself, if I was one of the developers or one of the story writers, I would have added a lot of differences. If I wrote it, there'd be a lot of stuff going on. Like, for instance, all 5 immune characters returning, except for Shin Mei. Well, yeah, Shin Mei, but she breaks off from the group to go to Narapella. It would be in part of the story that I wrote, if I was writing the story. See, I would have had so much in the story. I would have given people the option to play as the 5 original immune characters or play as the new characters that they have coming out. That way, people can have a choice of playing in between either or. You kind of see where I'm going with this? Because people love the classic and people love the new. And I respect people that love the original. Because the original Dead Island, there is a lot to take in. And there's so much stuff explained in the Dead Island Wikia, or Dead Island Wiki page, that gives you insight on the story and characters. And there's also a matter of what they're going to add to the game. Like I said, I really, really hope that they add zombified animals to the game, because that would give the characters an all new threat besides just zombies and hostile survivors. I mean, could you imagine running in the streets of LA and a zombified dog that comes running and attacks you? Or you take a boat and go out into the ocean and a zombified shark tries to eat you? That'd be fucking awesome! I mean, in the first Dead Island, they did hint at an infected orangutan. Now, the thought of an infected animal running loose in the jungle? That would have been fucking awesome. Or the thought of an infected crocodile or shark in the game. That would have been awesome to have had, from my perspective. Because it would just give the players a lot more threats than just the zombies and hostile survivors. Because right after the jungle area, the zombies became a more threat because that's all there was around the compound and the laboratory area. And when they get to the prison, yeah, there is a few hostile survivors, but there's a shit ton of zombies as well. So whoever creates whoever's working on Dead Island 2 right now, I really hope that they add awesome features like that. And I really hope that they add a lot more other features to it. Because in Dead Island, the original, there was a lot of crafting parts. Like, stuff that you wouldn't really expect people to have and not use. Like, the quest items, like canned food, bandages, painkillers, brand champagne, all that stuff, etc. What if your character could actually use that stuff? I mean, think about it. Instead of it just being a quest item, why don't your character just use it as a health item? I mean, sure, there was energy drinks and candy bars and stuff like that lying around, but come on, give it a bit more survival aspect. Your character picks up a can of food, crack that shit open and start eating it. I mean, that actually sounds more better than just picking up a random candy bar. And side note to that, the bandages and painkillers, heck, you could use that for your character as well. I mean, there are injuries you will need to patch yourself up instead of just using a med injector from a med kit to heal yourself. I'm pretty sure that's not going to take out a bullet or scratch wound. Well, I mean, it'll take care of a scratch wound, but it's not going to take a bullet out of your hand. I mean, sure, you get shot, med kit. No, that ain't going to do it. I mean, think about it in realistic perspective. If you get shot, or stabbed, or impaled, or something, and you take the shrapnel or whatever's stuck in your body out, just using a med kit ain't really going to close up that wound. You're going to need sutures, bandages, antibiotics, painkillers, whatever it is you need to make sure your character's okay. I mean, I'm just thinking about this in a realistic perspective. Because it just doesn't make sense to have some of the crafting parts that you get in the game, or, yeah, crafting parts. I don't know why they put canned food and stuff like that in crafting parts, but they did. And you not be able to use them as healing items. And another thing, the other crafting parts you get, like duct tape, bolts, engine parts, stuff like that. I don't know why they're wanting a like realistic perspective of the vehicles in the game. Like in the original and definitive edition as well, there is a side quest that you can do to get car parts for a vehicle in order to get it running. Well, what if in the Dead Island 2 game your car were to break down and you needed new car parts? Well, I mean, engine parts, car parts, bolts, flexible hoses, stuff like that, etc. You might be able to use that to repair a vehicle. I mean, I'm just thinking about this in realistic perspective. And you could also use that stuff to modify your weapons like you do in the original, or you could use them to repair other things. And so another feature I would love to see them add into Dead Island 2 would be to show how you actually craft and build these modified weapons. Like, I know the electrical weapons and fire weapons and stuff like that that shoot out flames and shit like that. I understand that they don't want to show how stuff like that's made, but I'm talking about shit like a barbed wire baseball bat and a nailed baseball bat or a machete attached to a baseball bat or something like that. You seeing where I'm going with here? Showing them how they actually put those modifications and shit to some somewhat realistic weapons, like the torch mod. People want to understand how people could make a torch with a baseball bat. Well, I mean, from what I've seen in the original Dead Island and Dead Island Definitive Edition, they look like they just wrapped a cloth around it really tight and then just set it on fire and swung at zombies. People want to see how they make that. They just don't want to see you go into a crafting menu and craft out a crafting bench. People want to see how you actually make that shit. Because it always puzzled me, how do they put this shit together? And then not complete honest makes sense. Because how do you put that stuff together? People want to see that. I want to see that. That would be awesome. People also want to see how you craft things in the game. I mean, sure, you could do the same old crafting system like you do with the original Dead Island and Dying Light, but people want to see how you actually craft that kind of stuff. I mean, that would be pretty awesome to see. Now, character perspective. I hope we get to customize our character to what they look like. Kind of like how they do for Dead Island or Dying Light. Because in Dead Island Riptide, you could. Well, yeah, in Dead Island Riptide, you could change the character's outfit from default to survivor, and their outfit would look completely different. But in the first Dead Island, you couldn't change their outfit, and in Dying Light, you had a lot of outfits to choose from. But in Dying Light 2, you get a lot of gear options to choose from, which is pretty awesome to look at. So I really hope that in Dead Island 2, we get a customizable system like that. That way we can customize what our character looks like. Because that would be pretty damn cool. Skill wise, I'm not sure what they're going to do for skills, but I really hope that you can like customize your own character's skills. Like not just set to what they have for them. Like you can add what skills you want. Like you could take skills from other characters. That way you can customize your character to what skills the other characters have and sort of make what your own skill set. Which that would be a pretty unique way of playing the game. I mean, sure, it could be confusing, but if you think about it, having skills from other characters to customize your own, that would be a pretty unique way of playing the game. Now, storyline wise, I really hope that they cover how the virus got to LA, or Los Angeles, California, because a lot of people are wondering how that happened. Like I said, I put my theory out there that it was possibly Karen, but we don't know. We'll find out. But anyway, as always, this is Dallas May signing off.